Hello guys. So this video's topic is 3 techniques on how to read a book without getting through it, without actually reading it. To a certain extent, this is true. It's kind of just being wise. I'll just explain. But it's not where you are still reading the book. In a bit, at least. All right. So first one, 7/3 information gap. So what is this information gap? But what I mean is that the 7 is 7 out of 3. 7 to 3 is more the correct way, the proportion. The 7 should be information that you already know, and the 3 should be the new information that you're feeding in. Generally, psychologically, people are if evolutionarily developed to really kind of not like new information. We instinctively kind of stray away from new things in general, and you might not see that in your real life a lot, but well, logically thinking, if you're taking AP biology, it's your first class on biology, you don't want to start with an AP biology textbook necessarily. You might want to start with like an introductory book on biology first, and then getting into AP biology. Someone who took honors biology freshman year, or someone who had like some biological background, it'll be easier for them to take AP bio. I mean, of course, right? But it's also easier for them because everything's not new information. And if I go in back to like the Stone Age, not even the Stone Age, even before like monkeys. Anyway, so yeah, like monkeys. I'll say the curious monkeys, the monkeys that were interested in new things and wanted to do new things. They were interested in the jungle that they've never been to. Well, turns out they died. And the monkeys that weren't interested and stayed a little conservative, not doing the things that they don't know, survived, is the evolutionary theory that made us kind of not like new information. So that's what the psychology dates back to. So I would say, like, when you're starting to learn like investing or how to invest, or investing, obviously start with an introductory book first and then get into the nitty gritty, like Snowball by Warren Buffett, that I need to get through someday, is like the thing. So 7/3. So it should be like majority. You should be knowing the information already. That is kind of hard, especially if you're like entering into psychology first. So I would guess like the first 3 books or so, like on a certain topic, is pretty hard. And then from there, I think it gets pretty fun, like, because you know the information, but then there's like a little bit of something new that you learn every single time, and you welcome the new information instead of backing away from it, mentally, like unconsciously, which is pretty nice. That's one. And number 2 is entering the flow zone. So when you're reading a book and you're retaining the information and you're processing it into your brain, and you need to like make it into a form where you can output it individually as yourself, you obviously need to be focused. So this kind of goes back to the focusing part. And so how to focus? Well, how to focus? There are 2 conditions where we can like kind of just unconsciously manipulate ourselves to focus a lot. And the first one is self-relevance. So self-relevance is something we need to consciously understand, that this information that we're learning right now is like a great benefit to our lives. So if you have a skin disease, and this book talks about skin disease and how to cope with it in the real world and then how to get through it, you're obviously going to be interested in it, and you're obviously going to go through those books a little bit quickly. And the hard thing about this is that even though you might be interested, like I am interested in investing is what I just brought up. So I'll just, for an example, investing, there's a lot of billionaires, millionaires that's done it through investing, and so who doesn't want to be a millionaire? So you want to get into the investing part, but then it's not like you don't really have like a huge connection to investing itself, right? So what I would recommend is kind of drawing a mental map that kind of says like the why are you reading this book, how is this book going to benefit you in the future, and what do you want to do with this book, how do you want to change your life. You can kind of just reinforce like what you want to know, and also like before reading a book, definitely go to the table of contents and see like what are the parts that interest you. Just try to make it as relevant to yourself as possible. And I would say like I would say like a good example is when you're going to the table of contents, which I definitely recommend to do. Please don't just start a book without reading the table of contents, going from chapter 1. That's you're not going to be able to finish that most likely, because it's going to be I don't know. You're not you don't know the information coming, so you don't know how it's going to be beneficial to you in that sense, and it's just going to get redundant for you. Well, from my personal experience and from all the books that I read on how to read a book, that's what it says. One example is like predicting. When you go through a table of contents, it is like a book is always structural. It really kind of gives you the definition of whatever it's talking about first, and then it goes into like the practicality of it, and then it goes to like the book's information on how and why and this and that, the most important part, like in the middle, you know. So as you're reading those table of contents, you want to predict what it's gonna do. Like, how is this going to? What is this book going to do to tell me this information? What do you think it is? So if you're reading a book on psychology and it's like self compassion, then predict what's self-compassion. Maybe just record it on your voice notes or something. What do you think self-compassion is? Well, I mean, it says self-compassion, so it's probably just being nice to yourself. I would say that because it's a psychology book, there is some like more like deeper level of compassion, how and like the what and what you should be doing to be compassionate to yourself. Is it really just thinking negative or not just thinking positive? Or how do you deal with these emotions, because we're not making them first of all. It's like yeah, predict that, and then once you read the information, well, now it's relevant to you, right? Because you have an answer, and you have the correct answer right there. So you can see if you were right, then you were right. That's great. You already knew the information, and you kind of affirmed it yourself. If you were wrong, well, you were wrong. And I was like, oh, so it's like that. It's not like this. There's a little like connection you have with the book now. So that's one thing, one condition for the flow to enter this flow zone, to enter this focus state. So that's one, self-relevance, and two, the second thing is, well, it's a condition. Like, you need to put yourself in a condition where you need to learn to read this book for like a certain event in this time, a date and time, where you need to like teach or like output it somehow. Like, okay, by 4 o'clock, I need to write a summary about this book on Amazon Review. Something like that. Give it a time limit. So give yourself a time limit and like a passion enough to make you like have to go through it, or you're gonna have to suffer something else. And I think this can easily, with an accountability partner, if you're in college and you have like a friend or dorm mate, tell him, here, if I don't get through this book, I'll have to give you $40. That guy doesn't have to do anything, and he's gonna get $40 from you just because you failed. So you're obviously not gonna like that. So you're obviously gonna get through the book fast enough, and we'll be able to explain it to him like as a test or something, that you actually read the book or so. And that would be a good example of like how to just put yourself in a condition where you need to read the book, and you're gonna suffer consequences if you don't. To make yourself accountable. And so that's how you get through a book. It's mostly just feed information. So information gap, also, I kind of forgot to mention this. So just start with like beginner's books in the beginning, in whatever field you're studying. That's the best way. You don't want to start with research papers. You don't. They're professors in their like 50s talking about gritty, like I don't even know. It's hard. And number 3, so skimming. I went over this in my last video, but skimming is like a reading technique where you only read the most important parts of a sentence, and then kind of fragment those together to make a sentence in your brain and process it. And this is faster than actually reading the words. It's more like comprehending a sentence just by the small pieces. And the small pieces you want to focus on is the beginning and the end, obviously. The beginning is where you see the direction of the sentence. However, blah, blah, blah. No, therefore, blah, blah, blah. You already know. If it's however, then it's kind of the sentence that had before that was something that this sentence is rejecting. And then in the end, you see the conclusion of the sentence. Because blah, 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 this, blah, blah, blah. It's like this conclusion. If it was like therefore, then well, you know that this sentence is the big meat part where the whole information that the author wants to project is out here. And that is a technique that it does take practice, I think. But if you do, then it gets you pretty through a book pretty fast. And also number 4, I didn't say this in my thumbnail, but number 4, I would say the Pomodoro Technique. It's not really reading, but it's really just for anything where you need to focus on something. So doing homework. Pomodoro Technique. It's named after the Pomodoro tomato, by the person who actually made this on his research paper. Basically, focus for 25 minutes and then 5 minutes recharge. Recharge. It does say like you can just do whatever you want for 5 minutes, but I would say meditate for 5 minutes. I'm gonna do a lot of videos on meditation in the end, but meditation is like the best way to refresh your brain because you're not really thinking about anything. You're just focusing on one thing. In my case, I just focus on like my breath. Inhale 5 minutes, no 5 seconds, and exhale 10 seconds. I don't keep track of that anymore, and it becomes like inhale for 3 seconds and exhale for like 12 seconds or so. So I just do like 3 breaths per minute, which is really slow. And that's good. Also, so it's like this double timer I have here. For 25 minutes I work, and then 5 minutes I refresh my brain to recharge it. Because if you cannot focus, the average like thinking time, or like the time that you can stay focused, is only like 30 minutes long. There are people who say they can do like five hours straight of just work. These people, they're either not focused or they're either unconsciously recharging themselves in that 30-minute span somewhere. So they're gonna be dips. So you want to recharge that part with those 5 minutes and then just keep on doing that. There was a TikTok video where the professor like explained that on his college whiteboard. It's like that. So yeah, the Pomodoro Technique. Give yourself time to recharge. And after you're used to this, I would say you can make the 25 to 5 minutes 90 minutes to 20 minutes. So you would do work straight for 90 minutes and then 20 minutes do whatever you want, or meditate. Meditate is a big recommendation from me to stay productive. And that's how I get through books a lot, and also like a lot of work. Teachers are giving so much more work in quarantine. I don't know why. I really don't like them right now. But anyway, yeah, so that's all I have today. I hope you guys, I did give you some information that might be helpful for you guys in reading a book. So subscribe to this channel if you like this video, and thumbs up. So the basic concept of this channel is really just me reading a lot of books and extracting some of that information and then giving it, sending it towards you guys in like 10 minutes, 10 minutes like videos. So it's like easier for you guys, and well, I get to read the book, and well, I'll put it here. So I just wanted to create this win-win system for myself, and we'll see how this goes as a basic idea for this channel. So thank you again. I'll see you next time.